in recent years there's been a growing consensus on the key role that market plays in supporting humanitarian interventions. And this has given rise to a lot of research. CaLP is one of the organizations that's supported this research, and in 2011 they launched a first round of research focusing on how market assessments can strengthen humanitarian interventions, and on what is needed to carry out a good market assessment. So the minimum requirements for market assessments and emergencies is actually a second round of research that's supported by CaLP. And I think some of the impetus behind this research comes from the fact that in spite of a growing understanding of the objectives for market assessments, which range from do no harm to increasing effectiveness and efficiency, and maybe an increasing clarity on the different stages of the program cycle where markets can be of support, we find more and more practitioners who are trying to mix the different tools that are out there, and in so doing wondering what are the minimum requirements. If they choose to use a bit of one tool and a bit of another, are there gaps that they're missing out? I think it's important to stress that they haven't been developed as a how-to tool. The idea is for them to highlight what needs to be done, and then to use in parallel to existing guidelines and tools, and there's many of them out there.
Minimum requirements, it gauge the standard. There are very many tools for market analysis, but minimum requirements help to gauge and put the standard on what is required regardless the nature of the emergency.
UNHCR is developing a global cash guidance. So it would be actually very useful as part of that guidance to refer actually to that document, because it gives it's very concise, and I think that's for decision making and more policy. I think it's a good tool.
The 5 minimum requirements that have been identified all fall under one overarching standard, which is that market assessments should inform response analysis to determine what is the most appropriate response. And in order to do that, market assessments need to strengthen interventions by identifying innovative ways of supporting existing market structures. And they also should aim to increase the effectiveness and the efficiency of programs. But at the very least, market assessments should ensure that programs do no harm. And that has been the starting point for much of our analysis, the do no harm principle. And the driving question has been, what are the minimum requirements for market assessments to ensure that program responses do no harm? So looking at this overarching standard, there are 4 broad components that can affect the quality of a market assessment. And those are the scope of the assessment, the analysis, the data collection, and the monitoring and process through which people ensure that the data quality is good.
The reason why it's so important is because many agencies find it quite difficult to understand markets. It's quite a new skill set for many agencies. And that's why the CaLP has put quite a lot of energy and time in unpacking what market analysis is. The guidance that's been produced does not advocate for cash programs over in-kind programs. What we're advocating for is good analysis. Therefore, when a decision is made, sufficient thought has gone into whether or not it should be a cash program or an in-kind program.
Now, it's important to say that this is really a piece of work in progress. The idea of this first publication was to get the ball rolling, and that we're hoping in so doing to engage a lot of the practitioners that are out there in agreeing or disagreeing with some of the things that are put forth, and highlighting maybe some concepts or some ideas that are missing, so that we can include these as we move forward. So again, in the view of accomplishing that, we strongly encourage people to test them, and then strongly encourage people to go on the CaLP website and go to the feedback link and respond to the survey.